Caitlin Clark, USA basketball issues. Let's talk about them, along with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden with his 3 felony charges. Does the two-party system here in America work with Republican and Democrat, or is there another option? Let's talk about the economy again, backed up by sources, and we'll review this day in history, all coming up right here, right now on Raw Real Politics. All right. Hey, welcome to today's program. This is Raw Real Politics, where we the people have had enough podcast. I'm your host, Todd Jensen, and happy Thursday, June 13th. What a beautiful day we are having here in the state of Utah as I come to you guys right here, right now. Now, let's start the show off with a little bit of controversy, and this is all coming out of the WNBA and Team USA basketball for the women's side with the Olympics in 2024. Here's the thing. Caitlin Clark, as we all know, as everybody's read the headlines right now, Caitlin Clark was left off the official roster, which maybe it was rightfully so. She did miss all the training camps. She did miss other stuff because of her commitment to Iowa and Iowa basketball during her collegiate time. That is understandable. However, we remember she was playing with the junior team in the last, off-season Olympics, right? She was with Team USA. So USA basketball already knew who she was. They already know what she can do. The problem is this political? Is this social? Is this cultural? And we don't think it's all the above. Number one, we all know that Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Plum, as well as Sue Bird and everybody else that is involved with USA basketball on the women's side, do not want Caitlin Clark because of her rabid fan base. And the reason I say rabid is not because they are rabid. These aren't like wild dogs as fans. These are legitimate fans who want to see the growth of the WNBA, and they're coming in the form of Caitlin Clark because she is not trying to push some social or cultural agenda. No, all she's doing is going out there, trying to be a role model for kids, trying to play the game as the best way she knows how possible, right? And she did an unbelievable job at Iowa. She had a playing career that was unbelievable. She's the all-time leading scorer in points in college basketball history. Here's the thing, is this is now social and cultural, but it's also going into the realm of political. And because it's all about ideology from here on out. Well, Ty, what the hell do you mean by it's all political? Well, here's the thing. A good majority of the WNBA, and we all know this is no secret whatsoever, a large majority of the WNBA are pro-LGBTQ plus community, certified, if you want to. They are supporters. They're advocates of that niche group. And when I say niche, I mean we're talking about less than 5% of the entire United States being represented with the LGBTQ community. And maybe that percentage is 100% wrong, but I will fall on my own damn sword saying 5%. Okay? And they want to promote this ideology because it is a woke institution. It is literally trying to cram down an ideology down the American people's throats. And it's not just that LGBTQ. It's all about their personal lives as well. Because you look at Caitlin Clark, a cute little girl from middle America. Okay? She's the type of woman that you would want your kids to be basketball trained by. She's the type of woman that you would send your kids to games to look up to pattern their games after. And you look at her off the court. She's not filling her arms with sleeves of tattoos, okay? She's not trying to go get gangbanged by like 20 dudes in like one weekend at a frat party drinking a bunch of Budweiser or Bud Light. Okay? She's not trying to pull a drag show and be the opposite of a Dylan Mulvaney. She's just not. But the LGBTQ plus have said, hey, WNBA players, we cannot have this middle America, straight white female to overtake what we have tried to do as a progressive movement to intersect with the cultural narrative of we're going to cram this ideology down everybody's throat. Hell no. So what does Caitlin Clark do? Here's the thing, Caitlin Clark has done nothing. She has been a godsend. She's been a godsend for the league, especially in terms of viewership, in terms of marketability, viewability. Popularity has spiked because of her and her alone. And if you disagree with me, do a little research on Google. Go to Bing, go to Yahoo. I don't care what source you go to. Go to Safari on your iPhone. Go look up. Go back to 2014 all the way through 2023. So go grab 10 years of damn data, right? And now compare it side by side to 2024 and the impact that one player, I mean, we can say it's one draft class, but really it comes down to one player. And it's Caitlin Clark. She took the NCAA by storm. And this little program, I mean, it's not little. I mean, they're a big deal, but I mean, it's still Division I. But here's this little school, okay? It's not UConn. It's not UCLA. It's not North Carolina. It's not Duke. It's not Florida. This Iowa. And here comes this girl that can beat Steph Curry, shoot lights out. And she is bringing eyes to women's basketball. Women's basketball has been the joke and the butt of jokes for years, decades. The WNBA has been an absolute goddamn laughingstock, and because it just hemorrhages money, it's heavily subsidized by its big boy, the NBA. The WNBA should have folded well over a decade ago. In fact, maybe not 2 decades ago, because it keeps hemorrhaging money. But here's this girl from Middle America named Caitlin Clark, had a fantastic 4 years at Iowa, comes in to the WNBA, and overnight, it's like a shot of damn adrenaline straight into your vein. You know what? Screw that. It just went straight into your heart and just gave you a huge boost of adrenaline. It's like, how do I put this lightly? It's like, last night I was watching a debate between 2 candidates here in Utah for governor. And it looked like one of the candidates sniffed a line of cocaine. But it's like, here was a line of cocaine that made you so damn hyper and make you want to look at that person. Not to be like, what the hell is wrong with them, but to be like, oh man, she's really exciting. Every time she touches the ball, I want to see where she shoots from. It's like Steph Curry. It's like the Steph Curry effect, right? When Steph Curry enters the damn court, you're like, oh man, wonder if he can like make 2 in a row for 15 or if he can drop one really long bomb from about 30 feet. We want to see that. It's an entertainment thing. And Caitlin Clark, she brings that energy. With the young LeBron, when Jordan was in the league and he was doing his thing, it's that type of energy. This is the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan effect of one female player in the WNBA. The problem is the teammates around her are dropping passes so it looks like turnovers because they suck ass. Okay? It's not her, it's the team around her that sucks ass. Let's just be honest. And then here's this girl that's straight. Let's point that out really quick. She is straight. She is a fiance now. She's going to wind up getting married to a man. So it defeats the whole lesbian theory, okay? She doesn't go around waving pride flags and saying, hey, with a deep voice like Brittany Griner, like, hey man, we gotta vote for or we gotta support the LGBTQ. She doesn't do any of that bullshit. And what do the fans do? Okay? Here's exactly what the fans do. They love her. The fans absolutely adore her because she's not pushing an ideology, a social construct. She's not pushing a narrative. All she's doing is saying, hey, I'll sign autographs after a game. Cool. I'm going to come out there. I'm going to play my hardest. And hopefully I get a last-second look. Hopefully I can score 20, 30 points a game. She's being a team player. She's keeping her mouth shut. and she's just being a good citizen, and that screws up the narrative of all these old school WNBA players, and they freaking hate it. But to that back, here's the theory that I've come up to. So we all know about the BC and AD, before Christ and after death, if you want to call it, BC, AD is kind of how we tell our calendar years, right? And we go back in the past, and that's how we measure calendar years, is from one single event, one single human being that just came into existence with Jesus Christ, right? And I'm not comparing the Savior of the world to Caitlin Clark, so do not misconstrue me there, okay? But it is the same almost likeness that we have today, okay? We had before Caitlin Clark, so BC, okay? The WNBA as a whole. Dog shit, nobody watched, viewership, sponsorships, nobody wanted to, it was like a losing product. And then, after the draft, after the WNBA draft, where she was the number 1 pick overall in the 2024 draft, right? AD. So we have BC before Caitlin Clark, AD after the draft, and it's like an entire new game. Now, you can sit here and look to the LA Spartans, Cameron Brink, who's a hottie, who's 6'5", right? You have Caitlin Clark's old teammate with the Las Vegas Aces, and Kate Martin. She's just a little cute. I don't care what anybody says. And she has been a glue. She's been a glue for that team. And then you got Angel Reese, who's just a hot hand, but she plays in the perfect city. She plays in Chicago for the Sky. Here's the thing. If it was not for those 4 individuals, Caitlin Clark, Kate Martin, Angel Reese, and Cameron Brink, the WNBA would have kept going down this literal shithole that it has literally went down for its entire existence. You can say, well, you have players like Cheryl Swoops and all these other people, and honestly, I'm a sports guy, and I can't even name 5 other goddamn players in the entire existence of the WNBA. Maybe Tammy Reese of the Utah Stars when it first launched. Outside that, I can't name like 5, let alone 10, in its entire history. But the reason I want to talk about Caitlin Clark and with USA Basketball being left off and not just being socially, political, and cultural, but we're going to talk about this as far as viewership and growing the game. Okay? Listen, if you're an organization, you should put your number 1 draft pick of the WNBA, who gets all the eyes of the United States of America that wants to give a shit about women's basketball after, 25 years of existence? And you're pissing the opportunity away to have a fresh face, new pace, and viewership towards your league by leaving her off the USA Basketball Olympic roster. And it's not just that, okay? Nobody knows, even me, who the hell her teammates are. Nobody knows who all these other players in the WNBA are. With her being on that roster, now you can say, hey, look, Caitlin Clark's maybe getting 6 minutes a game, but she still made the USA Basketball team. But now you're starting to invest in the team. You're starting to invest in these other players. Okay? Now you're going to get to know Brittany Griner a lot more than her going to prison for weed in Russia. Okay? You're going to get to know Diana Taurasi. You're going to get to know, Sue Bird or whoever all these other people are. Now you're going to have a better investment into who these players are, what teams they play for, when they play, and revolutionize the game, but now you just pissed it away. Now, if I'm Nike, which is Caitlin Clark's big old endorsement, right? We already know she signed the $28 million shoe deal, got her own personal shoe line. And then a little bit after that, Aja or whatever her name, Wilson, got her own shoe line too because of, cultural appropriation, whatever the hell it was. I don't really know. Nobody cares. Again, nobody cares about the WNBA. I don't even know why the hell I'm talking about this. But if you're Nike and you just are shelling out $28 million to a rookie, right, over the course of 4 or 5 years, whatever it may be, or maybe it's a little longer, I don't know the contract details, but you're looking at this and being like, you're gonna call Phoenix and be like, hey, USA Basketball, listen, we already know we have money invested in Team USA. We already know we have money invested in Caitlin Clark. We want to make sure the world, from a marketing standpoint, sees what we have to offer as far as Nike. And Nike should just be like, you're going to do this, or we're going to start pulling funds back. And Team USA be like, oh God, please don't. Look, Cameron Brink, we're going to keep you on a roster spot for next year for sure. Okay, not just Cameron Brink. We're going to look at Kate Martin. Hey, look, you're a plug, you're a glue person. Okay, if this was compared to the 1992 Olympic Dream Team for the men, you'd be like John Stockton. You're going to be a plug. We're going to put you in the next one for sure. But Caitlin Clark, you're going to have a roster spot if you want to do. And you have to say, hey, we're going to take 1 and 1. All right, 2 freshmen, 2 rookies. We're going to take Angel Reese from the Chicago Sky, and then we're going to also invite Caitlin Clark from the Indiana Fever. We're going to bring both of them on, kind of like you did a Burning Magic in their later years. But these 4 players should and will be on. I can promise that right now. They will be on the 2028 Olympics. But the fan base is not going to wait 4 more damn years. This was a missed opportunity by Team USA and the Women's Basketball Association and the WNBA. They screwed the pooch. They absolutely screwed the pooch. But I want to know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Let me know. But we got to move on. We can't keep talking about Caitlin Clark day in and day out. It just gets annoying after a while. Moving on to our next event, and this is Joe Biden with the Juneteenth event. Now, I don't know if it was at the White House or where it was, but he did not look okay. I mean, honestly, like I said in yesterday's podcast, it looked like he had a whole goddamn box of edibles and kind of stood there looking off into deep space. Even though everybody was around him and the Vice President Kamala Harris was having a good old time. But it really looked like he was not there. And it really makes you wonder, can this man keep this mentality and emotional ability and the physicality up to run all the way into November? And the answer is probably not. I would not be surprised if the Democrats and the DNC hold him at the last second and not made him the nominee for the major political party. I would just laugh my ass off. I want to know what your thoughts are on that. But the biggest thing is, with Hunter Biden getting those 3 felony gun charges, how does this affect Joe Biden in the 2024 election? That is the biggest thing right now. Listen, he's facing prison time. And unless Joe Biden, and I guarantee it's going to be Jill that does this, Jill's going to put this presidential pardon paper in front of Joe and say, Joe, okay, hey, honey, hey, honey, hey, I know you're there, but I need you to sign this paper right here. Oh, well, it's to help our son, honey. Oh, okay. And Joe will give him a presidential pardon from all crimes. I can see that happen. But will he do it knowingly is the other thing. His mental decline is so rapid that we believe that he's not going to basically survive the end of the year, let alone all the way in November. I would not put it past the DNC to sub out really quick him for somebody else. But who are you going to do that to? Because right now, Kamala Harris is the vice president. She is a woman and a woman of color. So it is completely within their purview and their narrative not to go against that. But are they willing to sacrifice, that for maybe a greasy Gavin Newsom? That's yet to be seen. But we don't know really who it's going to be. But we can honestly see a switch out at the last second at the DNC National Convention later this summer. Anyway, again, with all these segments, I want to hear what your thoughts are down in the comments. Which brings me to my next segment here, is this whole 2-party system, Republican and Democrat. But are you leaving out the other 5 parties that are in America. Right now, we got the Republican, the Democrat, the Independent Party, the Green Party, the Constitutional Party, Libertarian Party, and the newly acquired America First Party, which is just an output of the Republican Party. But within the Republican and Democrat, and we're just going to start with Republican, we got the Make America Great Again route for the Republican Party. And then you got the establishment, which is the Romney, the Cheney, the Bushes, so on down and so forth, which have been the establishment for so long. But then if you go back to the Make America Great Again side, you got people like Vivek Ramaswamy, you got J.D. Vance, you even got myself, and maybe you if you're listening. And can that be equated into one? Now, that's all yet to be seen, especially with Trump on the general election ticket in November. But then you got the Democrat side. You got the old school JFK Democrats. Okay? And then you got the basically, we're going to go a little bit further left with the Obama and the progressive unit, right? Where it's all about social constructs and cultural events, where you have now really hardline progressives like Ilhan Omar, like AOC, and keep going down the line, and Cory Bush. So are you going to see a bigger rift in that party as well? That's the biggest thing. Can these two parties survive the divide within their own party? And could these like independent, third parties, or even just the independents themselves, maybe say, look, screw a party system. We don't want nothing more to do with this inter-party fighting, all this other bullshit. We just want to vote, but we don't want labels attached. We got this huge surge of the no labels party, right? There's been a huge thing going into 2024. It's like, okay, well, you got Joe Biden on one side with the Democrats. You got Donald Trump on the Republican side. We got RFK, who was a Democrat, who went to the independent side without going to the independent party. He's just a straight up, unaffiliated independent, and he's going to try and take off some of those Republican and Democrat voters. I don't know how well that's going to work out for RFK, but can any of this be rectified, or can we just delete these major two parties? I want to know what your thoughts are on this, especially because with the fraction of the Republican and the Democrat parties, is this two-party system dead? Or is it just amping up? Because that is yet to be seen as well. 2024 is going to be the biggest election in our lifetimes, and I'm only 42 years old. I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm only 42, so will this hold up? Will the two-party system keep going, or will the Green Party start taking off? Will the Constitutional Party get a lot bigger? Will the Libertarian Party, which only has a 3% total poll in every major election, will they start to gain? It's up to be, it's yet to be seen, but I want to know what your thoughts, but especially with the mainstream media. Right now, because of this two-party divide, this two-party system, now we have basically constitutional republic versus democracy. We got the media loves, America first, constitutional republic, and then you got the Democratic establishment. But the media loves to twist and turn everything for clicks, views, talking points, and to make the American people feel stupid when it comes to elections and political dealings and political suave. They want to see you be a dumb population, because a dumb population is easier to manipulate in the aggregate. But I will not let that happen. Right here at Raw Real Politics, even though we are a conservative station, we want you to be an independent, free-thinking society. 100%. And I'm not going to go back on that. I will never turn my back on that resolution right there. But I want to know, again, in the comments, or if you want to reply in this video, please let me know, is the two-party system dead? Moving on to the next segment, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday in the last two podcasts with the economy, but this time we are backed up by a little bit of data. Now, this data comes from the AAA and the Federal Bank Reserve. And when it comes down to it, are these things going to, and keep increasing. And this is the price increases under this administration, not Trump's administration, but under Joe Biden. Groceries. When you go to a grocery store, doesn't matter if it's milk or mac and cheese, doesn't really matter. But overall, the cost of groceries since January of 2021, because he signed that devastating piece of legislation that killed the XL Keystone Pipeline. Okay, groceries are up 20.7%. Gasoline, we already know gas is out of whack, and gas is the leading driver of almost every truck, including diesel. Diesel's outrageous. But gasoline across the board, across the United States, is up 45%. Energy. Okay, we're talking about our power and our natural gas for our homes that heat and cool us is up 38%, almost 39%. And where I live, it's almost up 45% in total since 2021, making it an astronomical event month after month for utility bills. It is asinine. Consumer pricing, not just for the microphone I'm speaking on, for the laptop I'm using, for the camera we're using. Everything inside, like your Target, your Walmart, your Sears, if there's even a Sears, wherever you shop, right? Consumer prices and goods are up 22%. Now, this is data. This is real numbers. This is real percentages. But how is this affecting you? Credit card debt up 45% in the last 3 years. Unbelievable. Okay, and it's not just that, but here's where it really takes a downturn. Even though groceries, gas, electric, consumer price goods, and credit card debt is way up, what hasn't went up is the real average hourly earnings. They're actually down. Now, this thing says 2.6%, but we've done a little bit deeper dive, and it's almost down 7%. So when the inflation rate hits 8, 9, 10%, maybe 12%, with all these other things included, which we're saying is probably around 18% total, with everything going on, just on the aggregate as an overall arch, your paycheck has went down negative almost 7%. Well, let's think about that. You go into your employer, say, hey, look, the cost of goods and services are killing me. Look, I need a raise. We need a cost of, basically a retention. And that's what it is. It's a retention pay. And everybody needs a little bit of a pay raise, but when they say, well, we can offer you 5%, but yet the cost of goods and services and gas and everything has went up almost 18%. That is not even trying to match. Not in the slightest. Not even trying to match what the output is. Right now, this is why unemployment is still, basically high, regardless of what the White House wants to put out. Okay? And it's because people today are not seeing the ROI. They're not seeing a return on investment. Because when you go to work and you're not being compensated fairly, people are starting to see that, and it affects the wallet, and affects the everyday household. It affects marriages. It affects, how children see their parents. And here we believe in the nuclear family, but we also believe in the nuclear extended family. But when children see their parents fighting because of all the money is not there like it used to be 4 years ago, it causes a rift in family structure. Again, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. I would love to hear all your takes from everywhere across the United States, from California and Maine, from Washington State down to Florida, all the way from Minnesota to Texas. I want to know what your thoughts are all across America, and how the economy and the percentage of cost of goods and services are affecting you. Move on to the next segment, in our last segment of the day, which is This Day in History. Now, in 1924, George H.W. Bush was born. In 1929, Anne Frank was born. Actually, that's kind of cool to know that, actually. And this is what I love doing these days in history, because it makes us review kind of like historical accuracies. And if there's an inaccuracy, then I would love to hear about it. But Well, let's keep going down. So in 1931, Al Capone, the infamous gangster of the 1920s. But in 1931, Al Capone is indicted on 5,000 counts of prohibition and perjury. Now, that is a lot of counts to be had. 5,000? I mean, one is way too many for the average American, but 5,000, that's just batshit crazy. In 1942, Anne Frank, who was born in 1929, so she would be 13 years old, received her diary, the Anne Frank diaries. She received that for her birthday as a birthday present. In 1963, civil rights leader Medgar Evers gunned down in his driveway by a white supremacist during the World War II. Evers was in the United States Army and participated on the Normandy invasion. That's really awesome. In 1967, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled unanimously that the Loving versus Virginia case that laws banning interracial marriages are unconstitutional. Right, on this day in history, in 1987, then President Ronald Reagan delivers the famous line, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall," which ended the whole Western Europe, Eastern Europe, segregation. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Such a huge, huge accomplishment in American history. In 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson, who was married to O.J. Simpson, and Ron Goldman were murdered, presumably by O.J., even though that was never proven because apparently the glove didn't fit, remember. But in 1994, Nicole Brown, Ron Goldman were murdered in, O.J.'s yard. In 2016, terrorist attack in the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida that killed 49 people. We all remember that. And it was because President Trump, not because of it, but President Trump went down there to console the people of the Pulse, of the LGBTQ community. Remember that? And everybody says he's this he's a zealot who does not want to have anything to do with the LGBTQ plus community. Well, he went down there. He gave aid. He sent aid. He was a G for that. He was an absolute G. But here we go. In 2018, in Singapore summit between North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and the U.S. President Donald Trump, it's the first time a North Korean leader and the incumbent of the U.S. president have ever met. But anyway, that's your day in history. What a great podcast. I absolutely love doing this Monday through Friday, and I hope to see you guys come on this podcast. Join in the comments. I would love to do this live and have you guys join in as well. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow with us so you keep updated on everything that's going on in the United States of America. And remember, on Monday, the day after Father's Day, will be our first episode ever of Raw and Real Politics, the official, not the podcast here, not the people having a podcast, not just the Beyond the Podium podcast where we interview candidates and political figures and insiders, but where we have our first ever episode and another segment called the Rant and Rave of the Day. So definitely get subscribed, like us on social media, and make sure you follow us on Twitter X. Anyway, I'm Todd Jensen. It's been an absolute godsend and pleasure to have you on this podcast, and we will see you tomorrow.